Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Bryce with BIS Media, and today we're going to be taking a look at the LG OLED B2 77-inch model that's right behind my head here. We're going to be doing a short unboxing, and then we're also going to be taking a look at the inputs on the back, and then we're also going to do a full review on this TV, just because I feel like it doesn't get enough love compared to the A series and the C series, which are the most popular by far. But before we get into the unboxing, if you've never come to my channel before, I'd just like to say welcome. If you like home theater, movies, video games, unboxing, tutorials, and much, much more, click that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and let's get to know each other a little bit more. With that being said, let's jump into the unboxing. Alright guys, so here is this massive TV in this box. The first thing you want to do is just kind of snap off those straps are on the side and open it up from the top, because there's a little bit of things here on the top here. I'm going to show you guys a little bit closer. So the first is like some information / warning guide. You have your back panel for your cable management, and that is the remote and the user guide as well, or the user manual. So next up, we're going to go ahead and slide off the top of it. It's got a lot of styrofoam in there to help protect that TV, because obviously you don't want that to get torn up in shipment, because they're very fragile. They're very thin, as you're about to see. So we're just kind of moving that off to the side, getting everything situated. So there's some front pieces, there's those side pieces there, and then on the back is the TV stand itself, and this thing's actually pretty large too. It's completely made out of metal from what I can tell. It's pretty heavy. Here's a close-up look at that. So I'm going to set it off to the side. Now, what I'm about to show you is we're getting the plastic covering this off of the screen, and that kind of goes over the whole thing. Now, this is not the right way to do it. We're just kind of ripping it up and trying to tear it off, but what you really need is two people to lift it up, and then a third person to kind of get it untucked from the bottom, because that was the main problem. As you can see, I'm proud of how the screen looks, how the TV looks. But yeah, you're really supposed to lift it up and try to tear it out from the bottom, just because it makes it a lot harder to get it out of there. And so we're trying to get it all situated and make it look pretty here. But here we're about to finally rip out the last of that plastic, kind of get out the way. And then what we'll need to do afterwards is actually lay the TV down. You want to lay it down face first. Just make sure it's something, soft that's not going to tear it up. You could probably put it on the carpet or something if you wanted to, but the problem is it needs to be elevated to either be able to put the stand on it, or if you're going to use a TV mount like myself, you need to be able to put that mount on it. And it's just nice to have it kind of elevated so it's not just flat on the ground, especially if maybe you haven't vacuumed or you have wood floors or something. You don't want to tear up the screen or scratch it. So here we're going to slowly lift it up very carefully. And this thing is razor thin. So it's very fragile. You'll even see the screen kind of bending as we're laying it down there. But we got it laid down. Since I'm just putting TV mounts on, I'm not going to show you guys that. And we're going to skip on to the inputs themselves. Okay, so on the far right of the TV, there are two HDMIs up top. Those are going to be HDMI 2.0Bs, so those can do 4K 60 Hertz. We have two USB 2.0s on underneath those, so there is no 3.0 USBs on this TV. We have the antenna cable jack, and then we have the digital audio optical in. Then we have the SVC, which is just for like repair technicians and or controlled like via a PC or like some kind of system. You really see that in businesses. And then we have the two HDMIs up top. Now these are the 2.1 HDMI, so these will do the 4K 120 Hertz. And one of those is the HDMI ARC and eARC. And then all the way to the far left is the LAN cable, so that way you can connect a Ethernet cable to this TV. And there is actually one button on the very far right on the back of the TV, and this controls the power. So if you lose a remote or something, you can power it on from here, and you can also switch to the menus and everything from there. All right, with that being said, guys, let's get into the review. All right, you guys have now seen the unboxing of the TV. So now we're just gonna jump straight into the pros and cons of the LG OLED B2 77-inch. So first and foremost, the first pro is gonna be the picture quality. The picture quality is absolutely beautiful on this TV. The colors pop. Now I will say beforehand, I know there's some video going up on the screen right now. Honestly, the screen capture doesn't really capture how good the colors really look. I'm recording all this with the iPhone XS Max, so the TV is so bright that it almost washes out a little bit of the color. But I promise in person, the color looks absolutely terrific. And this TV gets very, very bright, so you should have no problems with glare or anything going on in the living room. Sometimes we had to have a door open or something, that glare might be on the screen itself, but the picture looks absolutely immaculate. Picture quality looks great. Everything looks very sharp and very detailed, especially for a big screen. Obviously there's gonna be more pixels exposed, and it's usually better looking at it from a distance, but my setup basically right now is very close and still looks absolutely terrific, and no complaints with the picture quality there. Second pro, it's gonna have to be the features. The features of this TV it's way up there when it comes to any kind of features. And it's gonna have 4K HDR, 120 Hertz. So if you're wanting to game, with the PS5 or the Xbox Series X, it's gonna have all those features for you. Some of these gaming features I honestly don't even use, so I don't know 100% what they are. I can tell you what they are though. There is the VRR, the variable refresh rate. There's the AMD FreeSync. There's the G-Sync, the HGIG, which I'm not 100% certain what those three are. And then there's also the Game Optimizer, which just comes up with a different menu that shows what the frame rate per second is. If you have auto latency on, there's a couple different things you can switch as far as if you're in a dark room. If you're in a dark room, it actually turns down the brightness for you. And there's also different features as far as if you want to turn on some of those different FreeSync methods and stuff like that, just for your gaming session. You can also turn those off or on. There's a lot of different things you can customize, and it's a great thing just to play around with and see what works best for you whenever you're gaming. The third pro I'm gonna go over is the viewing angle. I can't say this enough. This viewing angle on this TV is incredible. On ratings.com, it actually has them at a 9.7, which I don't think I've ever seen a TV get anywhere close to that as far as how good that grade is, because it goes all the way up to 10. I don't think I've ever seen another OLED or another TV get up to that high. So I think this is the best TV you can get as far as wide viewing angles. You can go all the way off to the far right, far left, basically almost going all the way behind the TV until you can't see the screen. And the colors in the picture still look perfect, still look accurate, and you can still see what's going on with the screen. With a lot of different LCDs out there, just some cheap ones. If you go way off to the side like that, or even some of the high-end QLEDs or mini LEDs, even if you go way off to the side, even with those, even when they have those ultra wide viewing angles is what they say, you may go off to the side like that and it looks very washed out, or you just can't see what it is because it's so cloudy. Something along those lines. With this TV, you will have absolutely no problems with that, and you can be way off to the side and have wide viewing angles and wide seating, because that's how my living room is set up. We have seats way off to the side. And so I was kind of worried about that, because I was thinking about maybe breaking away from OLED, because before this TV, I had an LG B8, and I had that for many years. And I was like, man, there's all these different deals for different TVs out there. But the wide viewing angle was a big thing for me, and I knew how good OLED was with it. And when I got this model, definitely impressed me, because like I said, it's one of the best ones you can get out there. All right, guys, the fourth pro I'm gonna go over is the remote itself. Now, the remote for LG OLEDs has been like this as far as I can remember. It's basically like a Wii style. So you just kind of point and click on the screen, just kind of shake the remote, and it has a little pointer that comes through on the screen, and you can make the pointer bigger, smaller, whatever works best for you. You can control how fast and stuff it actually flows across the screen too. And honestly, I think it's great. Now, the previous model looks very similar to this. They've changed a little bit of ways of how the buttons look and what the different buttons look on the bottom as far as the different streaming channels. These are all built into the TV as far as that goes. All these different channels here, they're on the home menu. The great thing also with this remote is they made it a little bit, I'd say the front is more matted as far as like this area goes. The previous remote, if I remember correctly, was all slick like this, and so it was a fingerprint magnet, which this still is. As you can see, there's still fingerprints everywhere. And it can get pretty gross, but at least this part is more matted, so that does help cut down on some of those fingerprints that you might have. So that is a nice section. And this also has an NFC chip, so if your phone is compatible, you can actually wave your phone over this, and it'll make it where you can control the TV through your phone. Basically, it'll have you download, I believe it's the LG ThinQ app, and you can start controlling the TV from there. It's pretty sweet. I haven't tried it personally just because I always have the remote on hand, and I don't like controlling everything with my phone to begin with. So sometimes I like to put my phone down and just enjoy what's on TV or what's going on around me. So I don't have it downloaded, but I know that is a pretty sweet thing that you can do with this TV and with this remote. So that's also something else to consider if you're looking into this TV. Okay, so now we're gonna get into the cons. I'm gonna be upfront, there's not a whole lot, so don't worry if you're looking for something to deter you away from this TV. And the first one being the software. Now, if you guys have done any kind of research on this TV, you know this TV uses an older software chip within the TV itself. This one uses the A7 Gen 5, which they've been using that for the last, oh man, it's been at least a few years now. So it's been used in a lot of the older models, and now compared to like the C2, that one uses the A9 Gen 5. So the C2, of course, is going to have the Evo panel. It's going to have that faster chip. It's going to get a little bit brighter, and so I know that's why it's become so popular. The C2 is easily the most popular out of all the new OLEDs currently, and I could definitely see why people would go for that one, because the processor and the software itself on this LG B2 is a little bit slow at times. Sometimes it'll take a second just to close out apps. Sometimes it'll take a second just to boot something up that you wanted to basically boot up or load. So it is a little bit slow on that. I personally it doesn't bother me that much, but I would still put it as a con, because I know some people will think this is absolutely the slowest thing ever, just because everything has gotten so fast nowadays. But I think the picture quality and everything has not been affected by this old chip that's in there. I mean, maybe you get a little bit better picture with the C2, I'm sure, but I honestly think the chip is just fine. But I know people out there will want to know about this older chip. You know, is it going to hold up today if you're wanting to use it for streaming or just using it on the daily for whatever use you'd like it to have? And I think it does hold up. It's just a little bit slow, but it's not the biggest deal in the world. But I still wanted to put it as a con, because like I said, there's not a whole lot that I can really complain with on this TV. Now, the second con that I will say, and I think this is more of an issue with Netflix, but in case anyone else is having this issue out there, leave me a comment and tell me what you think, or if you've been able to fix it yourself. But whenever I watch Dolby Vision content on Netflix in particular, I haven't noticed it anywhere else, no other app, no anything on through an HDMI cord. Haven't noticed it. But if I'm watching a TV show or a movie on Netflix in Dolby Vision, and let me backtrack a little bit. It only happens on certain TV shows and certain movies. It's really weird, but it blinks. As I've read about it in some different forms, and some people call it the blinking bug. I call it like a flicker almost. And it's weird because it doesn't happen in every show and every TV or every movie that's on Netflix. But whenever it does, it's very distracting. It can go maybe 30 minutes, and then all of a sudden the whole screen will go black for maybe half a second. It's so fast. If you're like looking away and you blink, you might think you just blinked instead of the screen itself blinking, because it's just that fast. And so it's a very annoying bug. And I've talked to LG support, and I actually bought this TV through Costco, and so I've talked with both of their supports, and they give me some different options to kind of go over, reset the TV, reset settings, everything you can basically think of, and remove the app, re-download it. Nothing has worked so far, but there was an update a couple of weeks ago, and I don't always watch Dolby Vision content, and so since then I haven't really tested it since that last update. So maybe that update fixed it. Like I said, I'm not sure if it's a software issue with the TV itself, which I don't think so, because if it's just to the native Netflix app, I think it just has something to do with Netflix. There hasn't been an update since they bought the TV. So honestly, who knows? The LG customer support service told me if all the different things they sent me, if that didn't work, contact the app support for Netflix, because it does seem like it is more of a Netflix issue than anything. But if you guys have had this issue too, let me know down in the comments, just because I'm curious to see how many other people might have issues with Netflix Dolby Vision. It seems like there's always something going on with streaming, so I'm sure I'm not the only one out there, guys. All right, with that being said, that is all of this review on this video, on this TV and on this video. So tell me what you guys think in the comments. Will you be picking up the LG B2, or will you be going to the C2, or even the G2? There's a lot of different options, or even the A2 if you want to go a little bit cheaper. But that's totally up to you guys, whatever your needs are. And so happy shopping out there. Smash that like button if you did like this video. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell for my next videos that will be upcoming. Thanks for watching.